Our next witness will be Dr. Beverly Hall, who was appointed Superintendent of Atlanta Public Schools in 1999. Born in Jamaica, Dr. Hall immigrated to the United States upon completion of her high school education. Dr. Hall previously served as Superintendent of the Newark Public Schools in New Jersey. She also served as Deputy Chancellor for Instruction in New York City and as Principal of 2 New York City public schools. She was recently honored with the Council of Great City Schools National Urban Superintendent of the Year Award.
Thank you, Chairman Miller, Ranking Member McKeon, and members of the committee. I have great respect for your work, and I have great respect for the work of my colleagues who joined me here today. And thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak. We're clearly not here to declare victory. Nevertheless, seeing the academic gains that urban schools are making nationally is encouraging, and often that is not heard enough. I invite everyone here to, when you have an opportunity, to visit Atlanta Public Schools and see for yourself the tangible evidence of what I will be sharing today. First of all, I accepted the invitation to share with you the coming together of an entire community in Atlanta around a school system that was stagnant, and is now being fixed. Atlanta has an elected school board. It is not under mayoral control. Since 2000, the district has posted academic gains every year with no slippage, even as the state continues to raise the bar. And our schools are closing dramatically the gaps with the state. Allow me to just give you 4 facts. 8 years ago, only 47% of our 4th graders met or exceeded standards in reading. We were trailing the state by 18 points. Today, that gap has just about disappeared. 86% of our 4th graders meet or exceed standards, trailing the state now by 2 percentage points. And I'm especially proud that 32% of those 4th graders are exceeding the state standards. And on this measure, they're actually leading the state. Again, the standards are much more rigorous than when I arrived there in 1999-2000. The other important factor is that Atlanta, in 2006-2007, made adequate yearly progress in every one of our elementary schools. The Council of the Great City Schools says they know of no other urban system that can make that claim. All of our elementary schools made adequate yearly progress. Graduation rates are up. Carver High School was our lowest performing high school that was left after I closed the 2 who were lower than Carver. The graduation rate tripled from 23% in 2003 to now 66% in 2007. And Carver has experienced a 50% increase in the number of neighborhood children enrolling. When I got to Atlanta, I realized that if we began to show these kinds of gains, people would question whether or not it was because of the test, knowing that there is such disparity between and amongst all of the state tests. And so we volunteered to be a part of the 11 urban systems to participate in the trial urban district assessment so that our success could be validated with the National Assessment of Educational Progress. And by the way, I join my colleague in really emphasizing that I too support national testing for all of our systems. However, it is important to note that on this trial urban district assessment, Atlanta Public Schools was the only one of the 11 participating districts to demonstrate what is called significant improvement in all grades and subjects tested since 2003. In writing, the most recent NAEP assessments show that Atlanta Public Schools have made gains at 7 times the national rate. Now, demographically, Atlanta looks like all the other urban districts. Our student body is racially diverse. We're 91% minority, 84% black, 5% Hispanic, 9% white, and 1% other. 76%, or 3 in 4 of our students, are approved for free or reduced meals, which is 22 percentage points more than the state of Georgia as a whole. And the vast majority of Atlanta students really qualify for free lunch. That is, 36,000 of our 50,000 students live near or below the poverty line. Even with so many of our students facing challenging odds, each year these academic gains have spread to more and more students in more and more grade levels. and the gains have spread from reading and mathematics to other subjects as well. When I got to Atlanta, you could predict by the geographical location of the school whether or not that school would be performing at a high level. No, that is clearly not the case. From north to south, east to west, we have schools that are performing across the board at very high levels. When I arrived again, it was clear that the district needed total transformation, like you hear me mention about Washington, D.C. And we have found that what works is a set of steps that are simple to describe but complicated to implement in a system with so many constituents and so many moving parts. First, we have a powerful coalition of business and community leaders and parents who came together. They understood that comprehensive school reform was critical to Atlanta's revitalization and economic health. This coalition focused on recruiting quality candidates for the school board and supported the board and the superintendent and the schools. I was the 5th superintendent in 10 years, and having this coalition of supporters with a firm grasp of the work ahead was crucial in making my tenure stable enough to get the job done. This coalition also understood that in the case of urban school district reform, patience really is a virtue. There are no quick fixes. Sustainable reform takes time, and at first the rewards seem incremental. Eventually, however, they add up to dramatic improvement that is sustainable over time. Second, and these are not ranked in order of importance, but for the purpose of presentation, we improved the quality of our staff, including those in the central office. You heard about the issues in Washington, D.C. That could be transferred to Atlanta and to many other urban areas. So we looked at improving the central office staff, our principals, and our teachers throughout hiring, through making it clear what expectations were, by using meaningful evaluations linked to student outcomes, and continuous professional development. We have indeed replaced 89% of Atlanta's principals since 1999. Third, we created a tailored accountability targets for each school, based my annual evaluation and those of the principals and staff on meeting those targets. And by the way, we began this before No Child Left Behind. These targets focus not just on increasing the percent of students that meets the standards, but also the percent that exceeds them, because we know for our students to go on to be successful, particularly in post-secondary options, they must exceed the minimal standards that are set by the states. And most importantly, at schools that meet 70% or more of their targets, the entire staff, from the bus driver to the custodian to the teacher to the principal, all receive additional compensation. Fourth, we implemented comprehensive research-based reforms district-wide, focusing on, of course, job-embedded professional development, utilizing through Title II funding and other supports, coaching. We have model teacher leaders and lots of mentors in our schools so that we can indeed change the practice where it's most important, where the rubber meets the road between the teacher and the students. And fifth, we continuously evaluate and refine our programs based on the results that we're getting, as well as feedback that we consistently seek from central office, principals, teachers, and students. The Atlanta Public Schools are still climbing the tough path to total transformation, but with the achievement gaps narrowing and the strong support of the community, we actually believe now that that goal is in sight. And so, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee, I thank you again for the opportunity to share Atlanta's story with you, and I'll be pleased to respond to specific questions that you might have.